Hi, I'm Scott Westerfeld.
I'm Alan Cumming.
And we're here to talk about the audiobook
of the third part of the Leviathan trilogy entitled
Goliath.
Give us an idea of where the last book ended and where this one picks up.
Right. Of course, at the end of Behemoth, they'd accomplished their mission, and everybody was back on the Leviathan, and you thought we were going to head back to Europe. But instead, orders were received, and the Leviathan is being sent off to some mysterious destination in the east. Of course, Alec still doesn't know that Darren is a girl, and you know, Darren still thinks the world of Alec and is kind of in love with him, and doesn't know, you know, but doesn't want to tell him, and has really decided that she has to live with her lie and go on living that way. So how is Goliath different from the first two books?
The biggest change, really, or the biggest difference in terms of the reading is there's a new facet to the story. I mean, there's still lots of adventure, lots of characters that go around the world, there's conflict, battles, all those things, but also there's a new kind of thing happens in this book.
Which you don't want to give away. Oh, you do?
Romance. But there's some very lovely, tender moments between Alec and Darren that were very unexpectedly tender. And also, of course, when you're doing a book that's part of a trilogy, it's all careering towards a climax.
Right.
So certain things that have been planted throughout the other two books are now all coming to fruition.
Do you think the fans will have a sense of closure with this book?
Yes, there's definitely a sense of closure. There's definitely a sense, in many ways, actually. But like all good endings, it's also got possibility for new beginnings as well. So there's that. There's a ... element to it, which I like.
Was there a particular scene of Goliath that was particularly difficult to prepare for or to record, or a scene or a character who was particularly difficult to do?
Well, there's a few scenes where there's lots of people talking at once. I mean, not talking at once, but talking in one big conversation, and of various ages, accents, and sexes. And those scenes, much as I love those, they are quite hard. They're quite hardcore because you want to keep the energy of the flow of the music of the conversation going, but also you're going from, you know, Count Volga talks like this, into, like, you know, well, Mr. Prince Alexander. That's Elena.
Adela St. Rogers.
Yeah, Adela St. Rogers sounds like. And so there's things, and then, you know, and Miss Dr. Barlow is going, yeah, and then it's that's quite difficult when loads of people are all talking to each other, because you could. It's just also part of the whole thing is to keep the energy of the story going whilst the dialogue's happening.
So when you do a voice that you haven't done in a while, like you haven't necessarily heard that voice or spoken in that voice for a year, how do you keep it the same?
When I'm about to come to a character that's been in the book before, then they very kindly in the control room give me a little audio file.
Right.
Usually, occasionally they aren't there. But things like, you know, the difference between Bauer and Hoffman, for example, things like that.
Oh, right, of course,
yeah,
because those are small characters, and
and
but you have
like
distinct voices for every single character.
Yeah, and the first officer has got a distinct accent. You know, the Rigby. All these
these are people I have to look up.
Yeah,
you know, when I go back and search the old
much
files.
the same sort of thing, except you're just to hear how they sounded in your head for when you write them, and I've got to hear the sound because I've got to voice them.
That's interesting. You know, one thing I like about writing for teenagers is that they read so intensely, because, you know, I don't know why, but when you're younger you can read more intensely, you can be completely absorbed in a book, and it must be like that for you, being locked in a recording studio. You're sort of sealed off from everybody. You've got this light on you and this microphone in your face, and you're reading this thing for 3 days.
It's intense, yeah.
And it must be, you must get sucked into the world a little bit.
Definitely, you do. Yeah. And that's great. I mean, that's what I like about doing it, is that you're completely in a world, and you bring to life these things, and and getting to play lots and lots of different people, and have to say, as I said before, not having to deal with other actors. When you started the final story, when you started Goliath, did you know what was going to happen? Was it this yawning kind of?
No, I didn't know, and I knew. I mean, I knew that I had things that definitely had to happen, such as Darren revealing herself to Alec. But I didn't know exactly how it would happen. And, you know, and I want to add the characters that you do great voices with, so I thought Eddie Malone had to come back because I liked his voice a lot.
That's right. Do you listen to audiobooks?
Yeah, no, I like audiobooks. Before Leviathan, I never listened to audiobooks of my own because I felt like I would have to jump into the speakers and punch people if they said things wrong. You know what I mean? Like you feel like there was a way to say that sentence and you didn't say it right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, after I came in to watch the first Leviathan being read, and it was like, oh, this is like listening to a story. You know, this is like great. And and after that, I think I like audiobooks better because of having seen you work actually.
But when you're listening to me being fabulous, is it hard for you to stop being the writer and connecting to when you wrote it or what's happening next, or is that part of the story being told? Can you sit outside and actually get involved in the story?
Yeah, I mean that's what I feel like when I listen to Leviathan for the first time. That's the first. I don't think I could read my books again. You know, I find it extremely difficult to read my books again because they're just what I put down on paper, and it's just kind of it's boring, or it's like I want to edit them, or But when I listen to them, because you're putting a whole new layer of drama and interpretation on top of them, it's actually like it's actually much more enjoyable, and it's like a new thing has been created, and I get to actually listen to it again. I get to see and hear my own work.
Scott, I look forward to whatever this next phase in your post-Leviathan life is.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for being such a great reader
of
the books of Leviathan.
I've had fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm sad I'm sad to say goodbye to these people.
Oh well, hopefully you get to play Volgar in the movie.
There we go.